A Day's Work by Eve Bundy, illustrated by Ronald Hipwood.
It's still rising, you know. I think that's just what Dad was telling me. We got the 10
Francesco stood in the parking lot with his grandfather and the other men. It was the first time he'd been there. A truck cruised along, slowed. The driver held up 3 fingers. Bricklaying, I need 3 men, he called. 5 men jumped in the back. Only 3, the driver said, and 2 had to get out. The workers left in the parking lot grumbled and shuffled around. Francesco's grandfather shivered. Hace frio, he said. It's cold because it's still early. It will be hot later, you will see. Francesco said in Spanish. Why did you bring a kid? One of the men asked. No one will hire you with a kid. He belongs in school. It's Saturday, Francesco said. My abuelo, my grandfather, does not speak English yet. He came to California only 2 days ago to live with my mother and me. Francesco swallowed. We have been here alone. Since my father died, I am going to help my abuelo get work. He took his grandfather's cold, rough hand and smiled up at him. Abuelo was tall and skinny as an old tree. Already Francesco loved him. When there was money to spare, they get him a jacket like Francesco's with sleeves long enough to cover his hands and an LA Lakers cap like Francesco's too. A man was coming. Benjamin's gardening was printed on the side. Francesco let go of his father's hand. He darted through the swarm of men and was right in front of the van when it stopped. Oh man, the driver said for gardening. He was young, with a thick black mustache. He was wearing an LA Lakers cap like Francesco's. Maybe cleaner. It must be an omen, Francesco thought. Take us, Mr. Benjamin. Us? Francesco pointed back at his grandfather. He tilted his own cap over his eyes. Look, we love the Lakers too. And my grandfather is a fine gardener, though he doesn't know English yet. The gardeners are the same, right? Mexican and American. Francesco waved urgently for his grandfather to come. Also, you'll get 2 for 1, he said. I don't charge for my work. The man grinned. Okay, I'm convinced I'm not Mr. Benjamin. Call me Ben. He motioned to Francesco. You and your grandfather jump in the back. $60 for the day. Francesco nodded. His breath was coming fast. That much for a day's work? Mama would be so happy. Her job didn't pay much. There'd be extra food tonight, maybe churros. He pulled open the back door, threw in the bag of lunch Mama had packed, and hurried his grandfather into the van ahead of him. A big, tough guy tried to get in too. Francesco pushed him back. He was tough. He was a worker. It is gardening, he said Abuelo, and as the van pulled away. But I do not know gardening. I am carpenter. I have always lived in the city. It is easy, Francesco waved through the window at the passing cars. Flowers, roses, things like that. He raised his cap to a lady in the car. Sonora, he said politely through she couldn't hear. The van turned off the freeway onto a winding road and stopped. A sloping bank led up to the backyards of new houses. Some were not yet finished. Workers climbing high on rooftops. There was a good smell of tar. The high bank was dotted with pretty white flowers and overgrown with coarse green spikes. 6 big black trash cans waited below. They all got out of the van, but Ben left the motor running. I need you to weed this bank, he told Abuelo. Be sure to get the roots. He pointed to the cans. Dump them here. Good, fine. It was Francesco who answered. I have another job to go to. Ben said, I'll pick you up at 3. It will be hot. Your grandfather will need a hat. He took a straw one from the van. Gracias, Abuelo said. See you guys then. Work hard. Have a good day. What did he say? Abuelo asked as the van drove off. He said to have a nice day. It is what everyone says up here. Your English is very good, my grandson, Abuelo said. Francesco nodded and smiled. He climbed the bank and hung his jacket on the railing. Now, he said, I will show you. He pulled up one of the spiky clumps and shook the dirt from his roots. There are weeds. Do not touch the flowers. His grandfather smiled. Bueno, Francesco said. See his strong white teeth all the way to the back. They worked through the morning. A little poodle barked at them throughout the railings above. Yap, yap, yap. An orange cat prowled the bank. There was a pool in one of the new backyards. Francesco heard splashing and voices. The water sounds made him hotter. His shoulders and arms hurt. He thought about how proud his mama would be tonight. $60, she'd say, and she hugged Francesco and Abuelo. It was a fortune. At lunchtime, he and Abuelo ate the tortillas and tomatoes and drank the bottle of water she had packed. In another hour, they were finished. The bank looked so nice with this brown dirt and the pretty flowers. Mura bonito, Abuelo said, and Francesco said, yes, beautiful. He and his grandfather shook hands. Francesco thought he had never felt so good. He helped his grandfather and he had worked himself. Then he sat on the curb and waited for the van. And when it came, they stood and brushed the loose dirt from their clothes. Ben out and stared at the bank. Holy Totalo, he said. You didn't think we could do such a good job? Francesco wanted to laugh. Ben seemed so shocked. Francesco gave a little jump and pretended to slam a dunk ball. Like the Lakers, we work hard. I can't believe it, Ben whispered. You took all the plants and left the weeds? Francesco stepped closer to Ballo. But the flowers, he began. Ben pointed. The flowers were chickweed. Chickweed? You took out my young ice plants? He yanked off the Lakers cap and slammed it on the van. What is it? Did we do something wrong? Apollo whispered in Spanish to Francesco. Ben's mustache quivered with anger. I thought you said your grandfather was a fine gardener. He doesn't even know a chickweed. Apollo looked from one to him and the other. Tell me what is happening, Francesco, he said. We left the weeds. We took out the plants, Francesco said softly in Spanish. It was hard to look at his grandfather as he spoke. We knew about gardening, Apollo said. His Spanish was fast and angry. You lied to him. Isn't that so? We need a day's work. We do not lie for work. Now there was more sadness and anger in Apollo's voice. Oh, my grandson, he put a hand on Francesco's shoulder. Ask him what we can do. Tell him we'll be back tomorrow if he agrees. We will pull out the weeds and put the good plants back. Francesco felt that his heart would go weak. But Apollo, that will be twice the work. And tomorrow is Sunday. There's Lakers game on TV. And there's also church. He hoped the word church would perhaps change his grandfather's thinking. We will miss them both, then, his grandfather said. It is the price of the lie. Tell the gentleman what I said and ask him if the plants will live. He said that they would. The roots are still there. If they're replanted early, they'll be all right. He rubbed his eyes. This is partly my fault. I should have stayed to get you started. But your grandfather and I appreciate his offer, and I'll be back in the morning. The three of them got in the van. Francesco sat by the window in total silence. He didn't wave to passing cars. He didn't raise his cap. He helped his grandfather find work. But in the end, the lie had spoiled his day. His throat burned in tears. The parking lot was empty. The trash can overflowed with used paper cups and sandwich wrappings. Ben let them out. Look, he said, if you need money, I'll give you half now. He began to pull his wallet from his pocket. Ballo held up his hand. Tell him we take the pay tomorrow. When we finished, Francesco's grandfather and Ben looked at each other, and words seemed to pass between them, though there were no words. Ben slid his wallet back into his pocket. Francesco sighed. The light had taken the churros, too. Tomorrow, then 6 a.m., Ben said, and tell your grandfather I can always use good man for more than just one day's work. Francesco gave a hop of excitement. More than just a day's work? Ben was still speaking. The important things your grandfather knows already, and I can teach him gardening. Francesco nodded. He understood. He would tell his grandfather, and he would tell him something else. He, Francesco, had begun to learn the important things, too. Francesco took out his grandfather's cold, rough hand in his. Let's go home, Bob, he said. The end.